Hi, my name is Mark Spence, and I'm one of the ministers at North Richland Hills Baptist Church. I'm also a Doctor of Ministry student at Fuller Theological Seminary, and this video is essentially a way to recruit you to participate in my final project. Maybe a more familiar term is dissertation, but instead we call this thing a final project. So I am entering into this phase, and I'm recruiting people to help me help participate in my final project. So I hope that you would consider helping me out by participating. My final project is essentially life coaching that helps people practice spiritual disciplines in order to become more like Christ, in order to be discipled. So the idea is that a life coach will meet with someone, with a client or coachee who wants to become more like Christ, who wants to practice spiritual disciplines in order to be discipled. And so the idea is that someone will meet with a life coach who will help them come up with a plan to practice spiritual disciplines. So you might be unfamiliar with that term. You've heard of coaching before, right? Like Tom Landry, but maybe life coaching is unfamiliar to you. Life coaching is essentially just a process in which a life coach listens, asks questions, and helps the coachee or the client come up with action steps to implement something, and then hold them accountable. So the idea is that the coachee or the client or you would meet with a life coach wanting to implement or wanting to practice a spiritual discipline, and that coach would help you, that life coach would help you come up with ways in which you can practice that spiritual discipline, a specific plan how to practice it, as well as hold you accountable to the actual practicing of it. What are spiritual disciplines? Well, you may be familiar with some spiritual disciplines. The typical ones or the normal ones maybe in life or Baptist life or Christianity are obvious, like Bible study, prayer. You may be more familiar, but ones that we don't really practice are fasting or meditation. These two guys, Dallas Willard and Richard Foster, have written books on spiritual disciplines, and they have lists that are about 15 disciplines long. Some things like celebration or confession, frugality, prayer, of course, sacrifice, service, silence, solitude, study, worship, things like that. So there's these long lists of spiritual disciplines. So what I'm asking you is to participate in my project. That would mean that you would, on an ongoing basis, meet with a life coach who would help you implement spiritual disciplines, practicing spiritual disciplines. I'm not going to tell you what spiritual disciplines to practice. There will be, on the church website, there will be a list of these spiritual disciplines with an explanation of them, sort of in like a Word or a PDF document sort of thing. So a brief explanation of them, as well as some steps that maybe you could take to put them into practice. So if you are interested in participating in my project, more importantly, if you're interested in becoming more like Christ, I would ask for you to participate in this project there's just some steps. So let me go through these steps. You would take what is called the Reveal Survey, and I would send you a link for that when you would agree to do it. So what I need is, starting in June, if you're willing to participate in this project, starting in June, you would take a survey. Take the Reveal Survey, which will give us some idea of where people are at, where the group is at in their spiritual growth, as sort of a before, and then you would take the the survey again, like in January. So they would give us an after. So where are you at now, or where is the group at now, and where is the group at after? And no one would ever see those results. They're not even you specific. They would go into sort of the group idea, and so they would be 100% confidential. So you would take a survey, and then I would ask for you to visit the spiritual disciplines website here on our church, and I will send you that link. So you can peruse them, see which ones might pique your interest. Maybe you've never thought about frugality as a spiritual discipline, and you perceive the need to start to practice that one. Or maybe you feel like you want to grow in your prayer life and you think, hey, I'm pretty good at prayer, but I want to grow in that part of my life. I'm not going to tell you how many you need to practice, and I'm not going to tell you which ones you need to practice. It would be entirely up to you. You then meet with a life coach who maybe will help you process through which ones, which spiritual disciplines to participate in or to look at, to work on. Then you would decide on which spiritual disciplines, you would read about them, and then you would meet in an ongoing basis with a life coach who would help you in listening and asking you questions and would help you come up with your action plan to put them into practice. So you meet with this life coach from essentially June through December or so. However often you meet with them is up to you and the life coach. Where you meet is up to you and the life coach. So you can meet here at the church. You can meet at Starbucks. You can meet in your home. It will be, like guy, woman, so that no funny business could hopefully not happen. So you meet with them for 6 to 8 months. You could even talk to them over the phone. I mean, there's no set place that you would need to meet with them. And then hopefully you would put these spiritual disciplines into practice at that same sort of time frame. So say June to December, you're meeting with your life coach, you're reading about these spiritual disciplines, and you're putting them into practice. And then in January, you would take a survey. You would take the same sort of Reveal survey, and that would give me an idea on whether or not this project worked. And again, those results would be 100% confidential. The life coaches, if I haven't said that, they're all members of our NRHBC, and they've all been trained here by nationally certified trainers, as well as so you would meet with them sort of one-on-one. As well as this thing would be free, so we wouldn't charge you for participating or anything like that. It's just a ministry of the church. So in short, what I'm asking you to do is to please let me know soon if you are interested in participating in my final project, or if you have any questions. So essentially, it's putting into practice spiritual disciplines with the goal of being discipled or becoming more like Christ in the process of meeting with a life coach. So you would meet with a life coach, put into practice some spiritual disciplines, all with the goal, all with the desire, not to make a successful final project, but for all of us to become more like Christ. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Please don't hesitate to send me an email or to contact me. Thank you.